Hello, and welcome to Canyon PD's Tip of the Day. Today's tip is about differentiation and why it's important to assess students prior to creating differentiated lessons. When we think about assessing, it is often related to readiness, meaning the student's level, maybe their reading level or their math level, and that is a very important area to assess. There are two other areas that are sometimes not considered. One is their areas of interest. What are the students really wanting to learn about? And their learning profile. Learning profile is this other kind of soft category that lumps together kind of their preferred learning mode. How do they prefer to learn, by themselves or in a group? The cultural background. So that is also really important to understand, and I'm going to kind of explain why it's important to assess in all of these areas. So if you are looking, and when you look at readiness, if you can address a student's needs at their readiness level, you will get the growth you are looking for and measurable growth. Think if you're starting below their readiness or above their readiness, you will not get that continuous growth. By addressing a student's interest, you will engage their motivation, and there's no greater joy in the classroom than a student that is motivated. So we want to know what they're interested in. And finally, by understanding that learning profile, meaning their learning preferences, their group preferences, their environment, their cultural background, if you can address those areas, your teaching and their learning will be more efficient. They will not be struggling in areas to cope with the learning that they're just not comfortable with. I'm not saying don't make students uncomfortable. That's a really good place to have students, but sometimes you just need some efficient learning going on in the classroom. And teachers often say, wait a minute, I have a classroom of 30. How do I do all of this for every student? That is one of the major points with differentiation. You're not creating a lesson plan for each student. You can assess all of these areas and then look for groups. You may have groups of students who have different interests. You may have groups of students who have different learning profiles, and then you can start to differentiate from that point. So differentiation is not creating a lesson plan for every student. It's understanding your students and creating some options in all of these three areas. This has been a Canyon PD Tip of the Day to support you in empowering your students to fulfill their purpose. If you found this tip useful, don't forget to click the subscribe button to stay up to date with tips and ideas for all of your educational needs.